No big surprise here that as someone who works in the podcast field, I would say a good percentage of the conversations I have with people, the name Joe Rogan pops up, right? Because I mean, these days, let's face it, Joe Rogan is kind of the benchmark for podcasting, and everybody kind of points to him as one of the most successful podcasters out there. But what's really interesting is when I talk to corporate people and that name comes up, whether they bring it up or it just kind of finds its way into the conversation for whatever reason, they don't talk about Joe Rogan in a way that's very respectful. There's almost like this condescending tone. And I'm not sure what that's about. I'm not sure if it's because maybe, he's found success by doing a podcast and maybe there's a little bit of animosity or jealousy or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if it's maybe a political thing. Maybe they don't like his political views. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. Maybe they just think he's some kind of bro or whatever. But what I always say to them is Joe Rogan is doing what all of the leaders out there say they do and should be doing, but don't. Every leader is out there waving the ongoing learning flag, the continuous learning. You got to always be learning. You got to do this. You got to do that. And they don't fucking do it, right? What? Because you take a little course in AI, or you go to Harvard and take some fucking management course and you get some certificate and you put it in your, you put it on your LinkedIn profile. That's not ongoing learning. That's taking a couple courses. Like Joe Rogan is out there talking to people. He's having conversations. Go on Spotify and look at the list of people that this guy talks to. Look at the diversity of these people, from comedians to people who are in the military, to political folks, to fitness and health gurus, to hunters, to people who are restoring cars, to people who are, astronomers, authors, you name it. This guy's talking to him. The amount of information in this guy's head, you want to talk about a big head, his head's got to be about to explode with the amount of information he has. That's ongoing learning because he's having the conversations. He's actively involved in these conversations. He's listening. He's participating, and then he's taking that knowledge and probably reapplying it to all different things that he does. And plus, the guy's got it seems like he has, such a diverse, so many diverse interests from, he talks about archery, he talks about cars, he talks about UFC, he talks about jiu-jitsu, he talks about health stuff. This guy has so much information in his head, and the conversations he's having help him. And you could even listen to a couple of his shows where he'll say, I was talking to so-and-so about this. He's connecting those dots. That's what you should be doing as a leader of a company. That you should learn from this guy and know that having conversations with disparate, diverse people from different fields, backgrounds, disciplines, cultures, that's how you do ongoing learning. You have a conversation, you ask the questions, you listen, you connect the dots back to your business, your objectives, your priorities. And yet, you don't do that. You take your little course, you get your little certificate, and you call it ongoing learning. Okay, maybe you sign up for the Headway app and you listen to a book, a summary of a book because you're so busy. You don't have time. You have time to talk about ongoing learning and wave the flag and preach it, but you don't really have the time to do it because you're not doing it. You want to do it? Have conversations. Do what that guy's doing. Sit down, have real conversations with people, and don't sit there and go, well, that didn't, what am I going to get out of that? Don't worry about it. Ongoing learning is not about you immediately taking that information and applying it. It's about putting it into this, and at some point, you will draw from that. And you will take that and say, oh my gosh, I can apply this to this or that. And if you can't, who cares? It made you smarter. And yet you talk about it, but you don't do it. And I sit here and preach about it all the time. I say to people, conversations are one of the best ways to foster ongoing learning or practice ongoing learning. And that's what BigHeads does. That's what my company does. We literally bring you those people. Let me bring you these diverse, disparate people for you to talk to. We'll even give you the questions, things to ask, things to dive deeper and explore. Then we'll record that. Yeah, we might turn it into a podcast, or you might just have it and we'll archive it. Or we'll take it and we'll chop it up, and maybe you'll share this with that team or this with those folks, or maybe it'll just sit in your head. That's perfectly fine, but that's ongoing learning. And you know what? We'll even help you kind of connect those dots. Here, what does that mean for this? What did that conversation, what insights or takeaways from that conversation can you apply to the things that you're working on, the projects, innovations, priorities, whatever it might be. But yet, people just sit there and they say, you know what, I took this course, or ongoing learning is so important. But you overlook the fact that conversations are the best way to do that. And that's what that guy does. And that's what you should be doing. So instead of kind of rolling your eyes or talking about him with a little bit of snark or, in a condescending tone, maybe you should respect what he's doing, because he's doing what you should be doing.